you bloody legends? How the hell are you going? It is myself and Jim Taylor. That's it. I was like leading into the intro there. For the
I'm
people
sorry.
who didn't see that, I was almost doing the full Buddy Cross pose as we rocked up in the intro. It's special Christmas edition, and it's also really cool because we have Spider One from Powerman 5000, the original Sci-Fi Cyber Punks with 10 studio albums to their name. I think over 1 million copies on this little baby as well tonight, the Stars Revolt. I know I was one of them. They're preparing to hit Australian shores to celebrate that release, and they're going to play a few other tracks as well. I've managed to track him down and get him onto an episode of the Bloody Legends, so I'm really excited about that. How are you going, man? How are your Christmas preparations going besides that?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. It's actually I didn't know if you were a Seinfeld fan. It is Festivus Eve, so prepare your metal pole and the feats of strength. It's going to be great.
Exactly, man. I have been slowly going through some Christmas tracks, some Christmas movies. There's a whole lot of cool stuff to kind of rip out this time of year. Any favorite Christmas tracks that you kind of like digging out this time of year?
Oh, I've always liked, man, I was going to say, I saw Three Ships. I'm old school. So I like very old, Christmas hymns or I'm sorry, carols and all the hymns. No. Carols and all that. So I like old school. God Rest You Merry Gentlemen's a good one. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. Yeah. They're fun to play. And then I incorporate, I just posted it on my YouTube. I incorporated old hymns and like rock songs. So I did like Slayer with like the Home Alone theme and Man in the Box with it was weird. I don't know what made me think of doing it, but whatever.
Yeah, I just sent you over that track. What is it? Slayer, South of Lapland. That was a cool track.
That was great.
Santa's Gory Yuletide. It's got members of Harkin Dream Theater, Protest the Hero, Inhuman Condition. It's also had Becky from Fury. She recently played with Merciful Fate live. Really, really cool track as well. But one for me, man, is definitely I love digging out is Dropkick Murphys. That's definitely one of my favorites for Christmas time.
You just showed how infinitely cooler you are than I am.
But man, look, I do have to say that my girlfriend, her mother has said we're going to go spend Christmas Eve there, and she said be prepared. You are going to be singing lots of classic Christmas carols, and you have to get right into it all night. We're watching some Christmas celebration things, so it's going to be more Christmassy than I have been in a while, that's for sure. So I am looking forward to that. But for me, catching up with Spider is going to be an absolute fucking pleasure tonight. He should be in about 5 minutes, people. So you get to listen to me and Jim talk a little bit of shit. Music news, man. Did you see Limp Bizkit, man? Fred Durst has offered to help Elon Musk save Twitter. What do you think?
Honestly, if you needed a moderator for Twitter, I couldn't think anyone better than Fred. So
Fred Durst. That's it.
Let him go.
Yeah, that's it. Go back to running Tesla for a while. Just put Fred Durst in charge there.
We get him, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of other ones. Just let him go.
I don't know the big fuss about it all, really. Everyone's going on about it flat out. And it doesn't seem like it's fucking the platforms changed much to me. It's the same usual. Like social media is just a pain in the fucking ass anyway, but we've all got to do it. It's the nature of the beast, isn't it?
You're looking, it's funny. You're looking for the right camera angle. It's like, well, what doesn't make me look terrible? I'm still new to it. When I'm, you've been doing this how long, Jay? I mean,
the video stuff, 3 years, about 2-3 years. With Crank, I've been there about 5 years. 6 years. 6 years, couple of years with that metalstation.com doing the radio stuff as well. So yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of time and practice.
It's adjusting. I don't want to be I get anxious, trying to be like, oh, stop look, I don't want to, stop looking at me. But I just love to play, and I get very lost in the moment. So for me, I just like to play, and it's like, hey, this is warts and all,
Speaking of playing, after we chat to Spider, we'll have a chat. You just played a live show, didn't you, with Lenne as well?
I did. Oh man, there's a story behind that, but
Yeah, we'll
I'll
talk
tell
about
you.
that after,
Yeah,
people. So you got to stick
absolutely.
around. We're also going to talk some
Oh
Christmas movies. We're going to talk a whole lot of Christmas stuff as well, and
yeah,
maybe touch on a little bit of music news. I do want to talk about later on as well tours, because Spider One,
absolutely.
he's about to tour Australia, but there's also been tours coming this way that have been canned. People cracking the shits, and with the current state of the world, it seems, I don't know. I want to talk a little bit about that as well, the controversy that's been going on. I know a few bands have just kind of pulled the plug after Aussie bands have kind of lined up tours, and I know a couple of bands have been doing that lately as well. So I do want to have a chat about that after, which will be interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Christmas movies. Quickly before Spy jumps in, favorite Christmas movie, man?
Oh my God. Definitely National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is one.
There you go.
Yeah. Did I break winds?
Yeah, National Lampoons, man. They were a classic fucking
Amazing.
movie, man. They were really cool. Chevy Chase, was it?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, unreal, man. I remember watching that one as well as a young lad, getting quite a laugh out of it.
Absolutely. Now, do you consider Die Hard?
Oh, fucking oath I do. I just had this discussion with my girlfriend last night. I'm like, we got to watch Die Hard. That's the ultimate Christmas movie. And she's like, it doesn't scream Christmas movie to me. I'm like, fucking oath it does. It's the best Christmas movie.
They have an advent calendar now that you put Hans every day towards Christmas. And on the 25th, he hits the bottom floor of the Nakatomi building. It's a little morbid, but it's still awesome. I love it.
Gremlins, another one, dude.
That was what I was going to say too.
I was going to say that even before Die Hard. That would have to be for me, because as a kid, I love that movie, Gremlins. And even now, I've seen someone post about it and said they watched the Gremlins with their kids, and they absolutely fucking adored it as well. It's a really good one. I'm trying to track it down. I'm like, you're going to my missus. We got to watch Gremlins. That's the ultimate Christmas movie. And then you got to get Gremlins 2 as well.
I never saw the second one. Yeah, the first one was too good. I stuck with the first one.
I think it was New York. They went to New York with the second one.
Yeah.
They took over the whole building and that.
Oh, dear God. I mean, they were slightly horrifying, but also hysterical. Yeah. Like when they in the first one, they send the old lady out the top of the house. I'm trying to think, because there's other ones where they combined like horror, and we have our affinity for horror films. Yes. Black Christmas was another one. There was 2 versions of that. I'm trying to think. Actually, Lethal Weapon, that's over Christmas too. I'm pretty sure.
Batman Returns. I've seen
Batman Returns.
Someone started dropping that because we've got the Die Hard in the Christmas movies. That is dead in stone. I've seen people are trying to get Batman Returns.
Absolutely.
More acknowledgement for Gremlins, which is what I fucking totally agree with. Gremlins would have to be on that list.
When she tells that story about her poor dad getting stuck in the chimney, it's a little sad. But who didn't want a Mogwai for Christmas, man? For real.
Yeah. The Silent Night. Speaking of horror movies, Spider is a director as well. He's recently dropped that movie Allegoria, which I've watched a little bit of it. I want to go check it out. It is over streaming on Shudder here in Australia. Looks cool as fucking hell, man. Looks really good. Oh, here we go.
Shudder. That's a great channel too, by the way.
Thank you. Hey, Spider, how you going, mate? Thank you very much for joining me.
We have a Dropkick Murphy shirt.
That is certainly a Dropkick Murphy.
He does.
We were just chatting about that. The Season Upon Us have to be one of my favorite Chrissy tracks, man.
Well, it's not.
Awesome.
I'm a Boston boy, so they're a Boston band. So
right?
Yeah, I know. That's another reason I chucked this on as well, man.
Nice.
I mean, I haven't lived in Boston since 1997, but I will forever be a fucking asshole. That's what they call it. If you're from Massachusetts, you're called a masshole. So
massholes.
So, Powerman 5000, man. You recently you're about to hit Australia, man. You've done 10 studio albums with Powerman 5000. Excuse me with my intro. Sold over 1 million copies of Tonight the Stars Revolt as well, man.
Nice.
You're about to hit Australian shores, man. You did reschedule this tour because COVID kind of fucking knocked everything back a little bit, man. So it's really great to see you hit Aussie shores, and I believe it is for the first time, is it?
Yeah, first time. Yeah,
No kidding.
It's hard to say
Wow.
after 30 years to have something be the first time, but it is for sure.
Yeah, really,
Wow.
really excited to get over this way, man. Because I know as a fan of you guys for bloody, I've had this CD since it first come out, dude. I don't know. I've lost most of my CD collection, but for some reason I've managed to hold this one. It must be great to kind of not only get over here in Australia, but also to play this album with over 1 million copies as well to the fans, but also some of the other fucking hits you guys have as well. Because I've got your entire collection as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's, look, I've lost track of how many albums. You say 10, I'll take your word for it.
I think there's a couple more prior to the demo and stuff.
But yeah, I mean, I think certainly Tonight the Stars Revolt is probably, well, for sure what we're most well known for. But we've managed to, it's easy to fall into sort of a heritage act, if you kind of only rely on that old stuff. But we've always managed to, we're always playing new stuff in the set list. We always mix it up over the years. And, I'm always pleasantly surprised whenever we play, at least in the States. I don't know what it will be like over in Australia, but like how many young kids come to see this band, No doubt. And it's cool, man. I guess the internet is the great equalizer. Kids find something and it just seems new to them. And, I look out and these like 13, 14-year-old kids, I'm like, how the fuck do you even know who this band is? But they figure it out, man, Yeah, well, so it's cool to try to do that, try to stay, try to keep the new material flowing as well as obviously play that old stuff too.
Well, you have been bringing out albums, I think, almost every 3 years or something like that, pretty consistently since kind of that first one, the Blood Splat rating system. Not to mention the couple that kind of came before those, the demos and the other one, man. How do you retain that? Like, because you're really busy. How do you retain that motivation and focus?
Yeah, I mean, I always think about there's a saying about what's the secret to a long marriage, and it's don't get divorced. Like, and that's kind of what what it is with the band. You just keep doing it, man. Like, you just stay with it. And I mean, I think from the beginning, I always thought whatever record we make, I'm like, that's the last one. We're never making another one. That's it. We're done. And then here we are 30 years later, and I'm still saying that, like, oh, this next one will be the last one. But as long as it's still fun, man, and it's still, there's some, creative instinct and creative juices flowing, like, I'll just keep in until I can't physically do it anymore. Like, I don't see any reason to stop.
No.
And just when you think you're out of ideas, you get some weird thought, some song riff or a song title, and then you're off to the races again, making another album,
Yeah, well,
and each record. Oh, sorry.
You go, Jim. Please go.
I did it again. Sorry, man. No, I was gonna say each record you've done has been different than the last. Like Noble Rot, I feel there's a lot of like I don't not to compare you to something else, but it was almost like New Order meets like really catchy heavy riffs. And
you're right. I mean that. Yeah, I think if there's one thing that our fans can expect is that it will never be the same thing twice,
No.
I mean, there are things that tie them all together. And of course, my vocal will always, be the glue, I guess, of everything. But yeah, like the last record we released, I guess it was the single, was this song called Black Lipstick. And I was like, this is the one that they're going to hate. The fans are going to fucking hate this. Because, it sounded like Peter Mercury or something. And we got more positive feedback. Like, people love that fucking song, and I was like, oh, cool. So I feel like we got to the point where we're allowed to, or at least it's accepted that we are going to never repeat ourselves to, and I think, that's just the way I do it. I mean, I think it's okay too if you're a band and you have if I started a band and I sounded like AC/DC or the Ramones, I probably wouldn't change a fucking thing either, right? Like, it's like you just
right.
This amazing formula. But for me, I feel like the key is to always be playing around with different sounds, and because that was the spirit of the band to begin with. That's why we started it, because everybody involved in the band in the original lineup had such different influences, and we could
Right.
never agree on anything. So we just decided, well, fuck it, let's just throw it all in the pile, and it'll be metal, punk, rap, funk, whatever, you know, industrial.
Everything.
Yeah, and we tried to, you know, create something that made sense out of all those different influences, and that's still what we do today.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
definitely. And with all of it, you mix in, like, as you were, the art side of it and the visual elements with the music. It's not just the music, you're mixing in a visual aspect to it as well, and that's something you've always done just amazing. Probably comes back to art school a little bit as well, but also seems to be that you're that way inclined as well, visually, aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, that part of it has always been just as important, if not, no, I don't want to say more important than the music, but yeah, for me, I don't really consider myself a musician, right? Like I don't, but I grew up loving music and art and painting and drawing and in film and TV, and all this, the visual aspect was almost at the forefront for me. So I never really understood bands that just wrote their songs and then hired artists and photographers and people in or how do I dress? I don't know. Put this jacket on, you know, and like,
right.
it was like, for me, it was the opposite. It was like, I wanted to create this whole vibe, this whole culture around the band, and where, you know, put our pop culture influences on our sleeve and like say, this is the shit we love too. And we hope you love it, you know? And, so yeah, that's always been a big part of, what we do. Sorry if you hear noise. I think my gardener's here. Like,
yeah, it's all good. I got my cockatiels going in the background. Spider. It's like 7 past 9 in the morning, man. They tend to go kind of out this time of morning as well over here.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So man, what was it like making this album? Did you foresee yourself, you know, back when you did drop this album, because you're about to tour on it, so I'm talking a little bit more about this one. But did you see yourself still going this many years later, 22 odd years later, still cranking out Powerman 5000? And do you feel like the way with the platforms the way are now, people, you can kind of do your own thing, be a little bit more independent, drop these film clips and not have a record label control fucking who yous are, but still get the music out to people as well?
Yeah. No, I mean, I never expected this thing to go more than 6 months, honestly. Like, I just, you know, like I said, every album's the last one in my mind. But, you know, Tonight the Stars Revolt in particular was interesting because it was our second major label record. The first one was sort of a re-release of our first independent album. You know, and it did okay, and it was, you know, it wasn't a hit album, the first one, by any means. It was, you know, it got us a little bit of a fan base. And then we made Tonight the Stars Revolt, and you know, I wanted to just go full for it because we finally got a little bit of money. We could make videos that, you know, had some budget. So that's when I was like, well, I want to make this crazy sci-fi, you know, epic, you know, and make these videos that are like mini movies. And I remember at the time our A&R guy at the label who signed us was so angry at me for going down this road. I remember, true story. So he calls me and he's like, come into my office at the record label. So I come in, he's like, sit down. I'm like, fuck, what did I do? He goes, what? I want you to watch this. And he puts on, I think it was a Deftones video. And like the video had like guys like skateboarding. And he's like, this is what you need to be doing. Skateboarding, baggy pants, chain wallets. You know, I'm like, what? I'm like, well, I was like, yeah, but they're doing it and they're doing it pretty fucking good. So maybe I want to do this. He's like, oh, and I just remember this whole path of this album, and we'd be doing photo shoots in our weird fucking space get-ups, and and all the label reps would be in the back of the room just like shaking their head like, what a bunch of idiots.
It made you unique though. That's cool.
Yeah, but I don't think they were worried, and probably rightfully so, that this was never going to translate to anybody. And honestly, I didn't think it would either, and I didn't really care, you know, because you're young and you don't give a fuck. You're like, whatever. I just knew it was something I wanted to do. And we finished the record, and they were, even musically, they were like, yeah, we don't hear anything on this record. No, there are no singles. There's no. I'm like, we're like, really? It sounds pretty good to us. And they were just like, yeah, it's crap, you know. but then a very fortunate thing happened with us, that they submitted When Worlds Collide, the song, to a radio programmers convention or something in LA. I don't remember what it was. And at the end of the convention, all the radio programmers all across the states voted their favorite song of the convention. And they voted When Worlds Collide as their favorite song. And then suddenly we were geniuses, and it was amazing, and put more spacesuits on and do, and it was like, then we were off to the races, and we had success with that record. But up until that moment, I think they were ready to just throw it.
Wow.
Honestly. But that's a common story for most bands. Most bands are like, their biggest hit is the song that they were told was terrible, and so from that moment on, I learned a very valuable lesson: is just do whatever you want to do. Like, do your own thing, man. If you're not happy, no one's going to be happy. So from then on, we just always just did whatever we felt like doing, whether we thought people were going to like it or not.
They just didn't see the vision that you had, you know what I mean? And sometimes I suppose it would have been very fucking annoying working with some of these record label people that just didn't see
they were
vision of what was going on. It was just, let's make some quick money out of it. It's a lot different.
Right. But to their credit, and it was a great time on that label, that they did let us do what we wanted to do, and they gave us a lot of money to do those things. And so I've always forever grateful that they did. They could have just stopped it. They could have just said, no, you're not doing this. But they did. Even though they didn't see it, they let us do it. And so for that, but looking back, I'm like, yeah, I get how this seemed like a terrible idea. But hey, it was also a very strange time in music. It was 1999, and there was a lot of like really unique bands with unique images, and I think if there was a time that it was going to work, it was going to be right then.
Right then. Yeah,
because people were really open to whether it was us or Marilyn Manson or Slipknot, or there was all this like really crazy visual stuff happening, which you don't see a lot. Well, I guess there are bands doing it now, but I feel like rock has become more, at least in America, like just more like almost like the rock scene in America is more like heavy country music. It's like, it's very you know what I mean? It's very like very like by the numbers. Whereas I feel like Europe is a little more adventurous in the music
You've got your Merciful Fate and your Avatar that are doing stuff that's just nuts. And that,
like more out there, for sure. But
you were actually, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, my fault. No, you were actually my first real rock concert there.
Oh yeah, where was that?
Summer Sanitarium, Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, that's a big show to see.
It was crazy. That was Metallica,
Korn, Kid Rock, us, and crazy System of a Down was the opening band. Now they were as bigger than any.
That was any of them. You were second. It was System, and you guys were on right after that. And like to this day, brother, you guys are awesome. You put on one of the greatest shows. You start out with, of course, the quote from Malachi Throne. How did you get Malachi Throne on?
If anybody doesn't know, he does the voiceover stuff on
A Star Is Upon You.
Well, so we're in the studio, and this is weird how when the universe works in these ways. So we're making the record, and I was like, I want to make it more cinematic. I want to find a voiceover actor to come in and lay down this intro thing, and so Mike Tempesta, who was in the band at the time playing guitar, he's like, my friend's dad does that. I was like, oh, cool. Who is he? And I kid you not, at the time we're in the lounge of the recording studio, Sunset Sound in LA, and on the TV is an episode from the original Star Trek playing.
Yes.
And so the moment I say, well, who's your friend's dad? And he goes, oh, that's him there. And he was in an episode of Star Trek. And I was like, holy fuck, like, could this make any more sense? So I'm like, well, can we get him? And he's like, let me call. And he came down, and did it, and he was awesome. And yeah, he was just character actor. He was on a bunch of episodes of Star Trek and the old
Yes.
Batman series with Adam West, and a whole bunch of stuff. And just crazy, that's just crazy when things are happening like that. Then you're onto something cool.
It's so cool. And then he did that, and he did Watch the Skies for me. And
yeah, he did a few different things. We just had him come in and read, and I remember it was very intimidating for me and Sylvia Massey, who was producing the record, because he was just, he's an older guy, and he was very serious. And I'm just this fucking dopey kid, and I'm like telling him how to read it, and he's in the recording booth, we're in the the mix room, and so I'm like, and he's like, well, let me ask you this, is the character, is he chiding us, and me and Sylvia hit the mute button. We're like, what's chiding mean? Like, we're like, I don't know what the fucking, and I was like, yeah, I think he's chiding him a little bit, yeah, maybe a little chiding, let's throw that in there. Yeah, it was yeah, crazy, but he killed it.
Oh, it's so cool.
And we still use that intro live as today. His voice gets played every single live show that we play.
Well, it's iconic. Like, people know what's coming. You know what I mean? And it's funny, he holds up a CD. I have the original cassette I bought when it came. Oh, I do. my cousin and I, he introduced me actually to you guys, and he was like, you got to check this out, dude. And because we watched all those old sci-fi and horror movies, and he was like, dude, it's like it has influences of that. And we were in love from the start. So this is awesome. So cool.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, and you guys are flat out touring. You start Australia, you hit Australian shores January 12th. You play in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. Then you got 6 days off. You got anything planned to do here in Australia, or are you just going to kick back?
It's crazy. We're going out there for 5 shows, and we're there for 2 weeks. I don't know what we're doing. I guess it's up to the promoter to.
Yeah, get the promoter to show you around, man. You haven't been here.
Yeah,
before.
I'm sure
there's a whole stack of things you want to do.
Absolutely.
We'll be hugging some koala bears along the way someplace, and whatever you do when you go to Australia, right?
Yeah, definitely. Then you're also, I've got Alborn, one of the guys from Alborn said you're on tour with them spring 2023. So they're also label mates with Jim. He's in a band called Lenne, and he's on the same label with them as well, dude. So which is
awesome
cool.
Dudes, man. Yeah. They are incredible.
Great.
That's gonna be a great run.
Yeah, we've got I think that's in March. March to do the States. And then we'll probably be doing something for the summer. I mean, it's just, it never stops. It's just like we don't really work in the old days. You do what was called an album cycle. You put your album out, then you tour for this, and then you go. We're just constantly like go on the road for a month, stay home for a month, go on the road for, we're just always playing somewhere sometime.
Well, you notice it, wouldn't you, compared to when you first come in with the first couple of albums to now, what the music scene and industry is like? I suppose you could sell albums before. Now people tend to go down this fucking digital streaming all the time, and less likely to grab whole albums as well. So touring is a big part of the band as well.
Yeah, I think for a band like us, it's the lifeblood of the band. We're not going to stream, enough on Spotify to matter. There's no, unless you're, I guess, the top of the top of the top, Drake or Post Malone or something, you're not, streaming is not a source of income for any, probably any rock band other than maybe Metallica or something. But, so you play live, and it's funny how as much as things change, it just all comes full circle back to when you started a band and you had nothing, and it was just you and your band and a couple crew guys, and you went on the road and you played and fucking hawked some t-shirts and and book a couple rooms at the Holiday Inn. I mean, that is it's kind of always been that, and will always continue to be that, no matter how much technology changes with music distribution. I feel like that's because it's the one thing so far that hasn't been able to be replicated, by technology. So if you want that experience, there's only one way to get it. And, so keep doing it.
And it's really important for fans to get along and buy tickets to these shows early, especially for bands like yourself coming over to Australia or doing these big tours, to get along and buy these tickets and really support these bands as well. And not only that, buy merch, buy albums, because it does go to supporting the bands.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that, and I think people do. I think there is a love for the, I was wondering, like, after COVID and being off the road for a couple of years, it was weird. Like, we went back and I was like, well, I wonder what this is going to be like if people
Right.
were going to be like, I don't need that anymore. And at least for us as a band, when we went out, I found more enthusiasm, and the shows have been more fun and crazier than they were before. And I think so. I'm hoping that meant that people really learned to appreciate what it's like to get in a room of a few hundred sweaty people and just, fucking rock out. So, yeah. So I found the experience to be really positive after the whole COVID lockdown.
Awesome. And it would be remiss for me not to mention the latest film, man. You're also
Was about to say,
good
yeah.
filmmaker, Allegoria, man. I know
You
we haven't
found
got a lot of
time to make a movie.
Yeah, dude. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, thanks to COVID, that was why I made the movie. I was, sitting at home, and there didn't seem to be any end in sight to getting back on the road, and so I was like, well, fuck, I'm going crazy, man. I gotta like do something creative here. And I've always had a huge interest in film and television, and I was like, maybe this is the window, man. Maybe this is the way to figure out how to do this weird little horror movie with limited cast and limited locations and crew, and create this thing. And that's what I did. I just self-financed this thing, and through blood, sweat, and tears, we produced it and made this movie, and it ended up on Shudder, which is a streaming service, a horror streaming service, and it's on VOD and Blu-ray and all this stuff. And it's an amazing experience. And since I've already shot another movie, which will be out next year, so
Nice.
now it's become my second job, hopefully anyway. Because when
Very cool.
I can't get back, when I'm 90 and can't get on stage, hopefully I can still direct a movie.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And you, because you had done, and then you did that series Death Valley as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Death Valley was a TV show that aired on MTV for one season, and that was a horror comedy. And that was an amazing experience too. And it was also it felt like anything I ever accomplished in my life is stuff I'm just 100% not qualified for, but I seem to figure out a way to make it happen. Like music, like I wouldn't know anything about music other than I liked music. I was like, I want to have a band, so I figured it out. And with Death Valley was the same thing. I was like, I want to have a TV show, and
Nice.
I started buying books about like how to have a TV show, and it was just like I start reading them, and I'm just throw them in the trash because I'm like, I can't do this. I can't go this route. So we just ended up like shooting this weird little test thing, little demo, version of the show for $500. And long story short, it got to MTV, and they were like, yeah, let's go, let's make this show. And so that was a crash course that really helped me in producing and directing and writing movies, because as a producer on Death Valley, I got to have hands on in every department, whether it was writing or wardrobe or working with the actors or casting the show. So I got like a crash course in everything. So it kind of gave me the confidence to be able to dive into this movie thing.
Yeah, definitely,
That's
man.
awesome.
So how was that whole process jumping into, because I can see, like, as we're talking about, the visual aesthetics always being big for you, but was this kind of like your directorial debut with this movie, or?
Yeah, I mean, other than directing some music videos, this was definitely like my first time having to, be the guy, be the director, so it was a challenge. It was really fun. I mean, I really enjoy it. And it's good because music is, there aren't too many new surprises that are going to hit me in music, after this many shows and this many albums. It's like, I kind of know what I'm in for all the time, but making movies, it's a whole new world, and it's a whole new set of challenges, and it's nerve wracking, and it's, we screen it's like I joke like, yeah, I can play a show like Summer Sanitarium, step on stage in front of 60,000 people and not even be nervous. But we screened Allegoria for like 100 people in LA, and I was like sweating bullets, like so nervous, like, because it's all new, it's a new experience. So,
Sure.
but that you got to have that in life to stay motivated,
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And Shudder's the best place to catch that one as well.
Yeah, for sure. Or VOD, I think you can
Cool.
go to Amazon or wherever. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're a couple of days
Cool.
away from Christmas, Spider One. I'd really do appreciate you joining us for a chat about not only the tour, but the latest movie, Allegoria, which everyone needs to go check out as well. And, everybody grab tickets to the tour. Highlights for 2022, man. What's some big highlights for you as the year rounds up?
What's the what?
Tell us about a couple of highlights for you through this year, man.
Oh, I mean, I think the movie stuff has been a huge highlight for me. Just to being able to accomplish what we have, making 2 movies in 1 year, it was huge. And actually, in having it be released in a way where people can watch it has been, for me this year, that like it's kind of the biggest deal. And I'm just really excited about next year and putting a new Powerman record out and making another movie and just keep going, man. I think that like. I feel like I'm a late bloomer, like I feel like at this point in life, sometimes people are like, well, I'm kind of slowing down. I feel like for me, it's like, no, man, I'm just figuring this shit out. Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's do as much as we can.
I was going to
awesome.
mention that it's almost 3 years since the last one, man. So the next Powerman 5000 album will be coming out next year, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're pretty much done with it. I just got to mix it. And, so I think, yeah, probably I don't know. We don't have a release date, but definitely 2023. So, yeah, we seem to be on this 3-year schedule for records. I don't know why it takes so long, but it does.
Yeah, I definitely find that too. As I've been getting older, I've definitely been getting a hell of a lot more motivated. Back in my 20s and I think I was a lot more slacker and fucking lazier and not as much motivated. I think we start realizing time is running short as well.
Time moves faster the older you get. You remember when you're a little kid and 1 day could seem like a year. You just, but when the older you get, you're like, man, 10 years just went by like that, so got to get motivated.
Definitely. Jim, would you like to chuck anything else in before we sign out, mate?
No, this is awesome, man. No, we're looking forward to seeing you guys on the road and everything. And keep doing what you're doing. You've got 2 huge fans here, man. Appreciate you taking your time and talking to us.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on. And I'm sure we'll see you out there on the road.
Awesome, mate. I will catch you down under over here in Adelaide, South Australia. Everybody grab your tickets, sell this fucker out. Powerman 5000, Spider One. Cheers for joining us, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate. There we go. Back to recording. That was fun, wasn't it?
That was
awesome.
Much,
Spider One. Thank you, Powerman 5000. Cool. And a big shout out. And thank you to John Howarth, the One Man Army, for setting that one up, dude. Really enjoyed that. That was fun.
That was really cool. And yeah, that was it's unbelievable. Like I forgot. I think that what was that 99, like you said. So that's 25 years, right? Quick math.
Yeah, something like
around
that.
There.
Coming on, yeah, dude. Yeah, he would have made it around then. So,
but yeah, they were in the thing. I just remember. I don't even have photos from that show. That's the thing about today. It's great to take photos, but like I always say to people, when you go to a show, you should have been there.
Yeah, you live in the moment.
You live in the moment, and I just remember him coming out. He looks exactly the same, which is crazy. But I remember they came out in those goggles, and they had the jumpsuits on, and I was like, man, it was just larger than life. And
that was so fucking cool, eh?
Oh man. And then, but every record they did, like the first 2 or 3 had that sci-fi element, and he always has that undertone.
Yeah.
But like he always would change. He would everything. Every record sounded different. Like I said, the Noble Rot. It's almost like 80s, not in a bad way, but like it's
Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax for a movie as well.
It was in Zoolander.
And here we go. I got in my press release they done that. And I heard Limp Bizkit. This is why I mentioned Limp Bizkit.
Oh, here we go.
I heard they done a track and they rejected Limp Bizkit's one and went with Powerman 5000's one.
interesting.
Yeah, for that.
I remember they had I remember the song. I think they had a record. Oh my God. And I'm gonna get the name wrong, but they had a song called I think it was Transform. Or no, it was anyone for Doomsday. I'm sorry. And they had a song called Bombshell. And it was on like 67 different movies and shows, but it never saw. I don't think the album got like a big release, like officially. And because I think there was some stuff going on. But I remember when Bombshell came out and I was like, oh my God, this is such a great song. But every song off Revolt was just, I mean, you can hear Nobody's Real, like you can hear it, dude.
Yeah.
And like just
so good,
cool.
exactly. And the record labels, I suppose, it's we all bitch and moan like Spotify can be a pile of shit, but there's also got positives and negatives to everything. If they actually paid the fucking artists better, it would be a much better platform, and I wouldn't complain as much. But the record labels like kind of seem to control the whole fucking scene, and you'd really have to dig to find these underground labels back then, or to listen to albums like that, and especially Powerman 5000, because I think the major record labels dropped them after this album, maybe, or even the one after that.
I want to say, I think they were on DreamWorks, and that was like their only one. But I mean, that was like their third record in. I remember I had Mega Kung Fu Radio.
That was so funky, man. Funky as fuck, dude. I was cranking that yesterday, and I'm like, dude, this was cool as fuck. The bass lines were
nasty.
Yeah.
Well, that's like him and his brother. You had White Zombie that went from noise rock, and I think you were practically issued Astro Creep 2000. Yeah. And I remember when that came out, that was the heaviest thing I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was so markedly different than everything. Like, talk about two really talented dudes there.
Oh, yeah. And I could have talked about the whole fucking Rob Zombie and him, but I'm sure every interviewer that's ever chatted to him has hit him with that shit.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, we're not doing that.
Like Spider One, like as you said, and I too, we didn't know originally that it was Rob Zombie's brother, but everything he's done, even in that conversation, everything he's been on his own 2 feet. He even said it at one point that I was going to do it on my own grounds.
On my own.
Yeah, on my own, if I'm going to do it, I'm not. And after chatting to him, he's definitely not the kind of guy that's going to go, okay, and I'm Rob Zombie's brother, give me a movie, or I'm Rob Zombie's brother, put me on the tour. You know what I mean? It was always if I'm a musician, this is on my own fucking grounds. I'm even going to go, my name's Spider One. I'm going to go down this. You know what I mean? And
it's so awesome, though. I can't believe. Sorry, my inner 19-year-old is screaming right now. I was like, oh my God, Yeah,
I don't get nervous too often, but I was definitely fanboying a little bit. I'm like, it's
Same.
It's really, really cool. And I am looking forward to catching them down under, because that's fucking said, first time in Australia, like people like me, like in our 40s, like that have been rocking out these cunts forever. And as you said, even the younger generation coming through now are able to
discovering it
and really getting into Powerman 5000 and the vibe and feel, and able to track it down more, where independent bands can kind of do their thing and still reach an audience and have over 500,000 views, 1 million views on their clip, and no record label kind of really. I think Cleopatra Records or a smaller label.
It was something like that. Yeah. And it was like something like, you want to tell these kids, like, do you know who that is? Yeah. Like at the time, I mean, you and I are about the same age. We grew up. The 90s was a wild time because we saw everything from the end of hair metal to the beginnings of grunge, to then you had industrial, and then you had the new metal scene. And we saw each advent of that. And to see these bands that are coming back, like seeing Coal Chamber do stuff again. My man who just celebrated birthday, you've got Morgan and my boys in Seven Dust. They're still going strong, and people are rediscovering them, in my opinion. Limp Bizkit is another, and it's like, and it's funny to think these guys are now in their 50s and they're still killing it.
Yeah, well, I seen Offspring, as we mentioned. I just seen Offspring not long ago as well.
I was gonna say,
and that was pretty bloody cool as well. Noodles
no
up there,
doubt,
dude, just ripping it and
just ripping.
Yeah, it was bloody. It's really good. But also these bands that we're talking about in the 90s, they're able to do these tours like Powerman 5000 are able to come over here and celebrate tonight the Stars Revolt. And you've got Seven Dust recently done it. There's bands that are able to do these tours around an album. Do you think bands that are now able to do that? Like some of the bands coming out that are even big now able to do that? Because the cycle tends to sit more on the fucking singles, and where our generation were whole albums, and that became really quite popular. So, you know, when they do tours like this, people like us are like, fuck yeah, let's get along to this and do, you know?
And that's a lot of, I think of the band's prepping.
Yeah.
And it's like, my God, we haven't played this in, 20 years. And to do it front to back, because not every song you have ever played live. So you've got ones that you've never played live, and it's like, how the hell do we do that? So there's a lot that's a testament to how good your band is.
Yeah,
like that you can play that front to back. Like, oh man, we recorded that when we were 18, and and they're still like retaining that, and it's a testament to longevity.
Yeah, it is. And a testament to people like us that still bought whole albums and listen to whole albums, man. I do harp on a lot about it. But even he mentioned it with Spotify, like that nobody's making fucking money off this. And I usually get to this time of year, and I know I talked about it in the last podcast we done, that how important it is for people to get along and buy merch, just streaming it on Spotify. It's about this much support that you could give a band. You can chuck in a whole lot more support, buy some merch and buy tickets to tours. Because I noticed Dropout Kings a couple of months ago, they were all set to tour Australia. They just said, fuck it, no, we're not doing it. Pulled the pin. A couple of other bands have done it as well, which is hard for not only Aussie bands, because they set up this whole support to tour this band, and a lot of bands, we've all got fucking jobs. This does not pay the bills unless you're getting the support, and unfortunately people aren't supporting bands as much as they should. That when bands announce tours, especially like this one and any others that are coming up, and now all these tours are coming, it is important to buy tickets to these shows, because promoters will pull the pin. It's not only in the metal scene. I've noticed that everything dude from Savage Garden, I can't even remember his name. Fucking, he was all. Oh yeah, he pulled a couple of shows. Fucking said, "Nah, the tickets aren't there." It's important to get along and buy these tickets early to these tours, because they will get pulled on you people. And if you want bands to keep coming to your shows, like Powerman 5000 coming over to Perth, dude, it's one they tend to miss it. They sit up the East Coast, so if people aren't buying tickets to these tours, then they will be pulled on you people. So do it. Christmas, think about it.
No doubt. I was going to say, and the other thing too, when you wear the merch, because you're like you're invested.
Yeah.
Like when you're wearing a Dropkick shirt. Yeah. Hopefully the boys see that. If they hopefully they come across our podcast. And they'll see that. Oh, same. And it's like that was the thing back in the day too. I remember Morgan saying this on an interview. He was like, man, you were invested. He was like, I remember when I went to AC/DC or Motley Crue or Aussie, and there was nothing to document that you were at the show back then, except when you went to school and you had the Bark at the Moon you had the ticket stub. You had the ticket stub. I still collect those. I have a collection of those. I have I have guitar picks. Actually here we go.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, like if I can, that's Alex Skolnick from Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So like there's little things, because that not only you're supporting. Yes, is that Death Angel?
Yeah,
no kidding. Oh, see, I love Death Angel. Oh my gosh, I just saw. I was gonna say, I think they're gearing up for something. Are they not?
Yeah, I think so. I've even got bloody 5 Finger Death Punch one. People.
Oh, nice. Oh, look at that.
It's Jason Hook. So it's cool.
Jason Hook.
He's a dude, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. But
he's
yeah,
He's recently formed a group with someone, a few other fucking pretty cool
yes.
dudes. I can't remember. I don't know the name, but yes, a
Yes,
super
yes,
group of
yes.
some sort. Let me see.
Speaking of, I'm seeing your Pantera poster behind you. Have you caught some of these shows? My God.
Oh, dude.
Oh my God.
It looks
Wow.
unreal, man. There's the
It's unreal.
fans are absolutely going crazy. I'm really hoping they do get down under.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the guys are unreal, man. Zach Wild's tearing it up. Charlie there, man. It's really a great tribute to not only Pantera, but Dimebag and VP. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
And those guys, as we said before in a recent podcast, they were all bloody super fucking close, man. They were all really great.
Oh
friends,
yeah. They've toured. I mean, God, since the '80s.
Yep.
So I mean, you have it. To me, it just is a bunch of friends just getting up there and just having a great time, which is what it should. That's what music should be.
I really like it, awesome. And I hope they keep it in the vein of like Thin Lizzy does. You know what I mean? They did it with Thin Lizzy, where they could
yes,
do this act and play these tracks as like kind of a tribute, not only to Phil, but to Thin Lizzy, but not make any new music. Have another band, the Black Star Riders, with which they make new music. And Phil's got a heap of bloody bands. I can't see him going making new music under Pantera. I can see him doing maybe something else as a different name, because and keeping this as a tribute.
I was going to say do it as a different name. Like I'd like to see the four of them do something, but yeah, once it's. Well, Spider One just said it. He like where it becomes a legacy thing.
Yes,
and it's like that's cool, but let's do something different. Like when Pantera when they were no longer Pantera, they went to Damage Plan.
Yeah,
and then to Hell Yeah. And it was an evolving thing.
Yep.
So it wasn't like, well, let's rehash. What we've been doing. I remember when I bought Damage Plan, I was like, wow, this is way, way, way different.
Yep.
And it was still heavy. And then what was the one they did with David Allen Coe, which it was called Rebel Meets Rebel. And that was the closest thing you got to Pantera with a country singer.
Yeah,
but it was still heavy.
And Hell Yeah, I caught them a few times as well, man. Fucking absolutely really cool. I did get to meet VP, man. He was
no
dude,
kidding.
Man. Yeah, I met him at a Hell Yeah show as well. Met the whole band, Chad Gray and everything.
I was in a wedding in Texas as well. One of my longtime friends from college, and I believe I'm pretty sure it was Hell Yeah. They were shooting a video at the strip club Vinny owned. And they were looking, and I was still in a tux from the wedding, and they were looking for extras. I want to say it was the video for Matter of Time, and I missed it. I think it was Matter of Time, and I was like, I didn't get to go. I mean, he was like, he was paying like extras $20, but I was like, I don't care about that. I just want to be in a Hell Yeah video.
Yeah, that's it, And to think now, you did mention Cold Chamber being making a comeback, man. I love Cold Chamber, dude, but for me, it was always fucking Devil Driver, and I even I absolutely love Devil Driver. And actually remember someone it wasn't word for word, but I remember Des saying once, like, it was going back to kindergarten to be with Cold Chamber. Like, and I did love Cold Chamber, and I did dig them, man, but I understand the big fucking. I think it's back to the album thing with what we were talking. That's why I wanted to talk about this. That those albums stood such a
test of time, absolutely.
A place in these people's hearts, fans' heart, that
absolutely.
They like can't move past that. But yeah,
they I'll have to show you a photo. I actually I was in a metal band here in Pennsylvania, and we were on another stage, but we opened for Devil Driver, and it was the tour. Yeah. Dude. So we were allowed in the venue because we were one of the bands for their sound check, and their sound check was incredible. Like, it was the real deal. I was like, this is intense. and
Yeah.
it was awesome. And then and they saw I made my own rings. I don't have any on right now, but they gave me one of their Devil Driver rings with that was engraved. So that's definitely a really cool memento I have. So
That
it
is
was
really
rad.
bloody cool, man. I caught Devil
Yeah.
Driver a few times. Soundwave. Where was I got tickets from Soundwave? There we go.
Oh, no
One of
kidding.
these years at Soundwave. Dude,
Oh.
that was unreal, man. I actually partook in some LSD that show, and fucking I was standing there as they've done this wall of death, man, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, okay. This shit. Right as it kicked in, I'm stuck in with this big wall of death coming in. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And for some reason now, Devil Drive was always a special place in my heart, man. But dude, that was a pretty crazy moment. But yeah, really, really great show. I think that was fucking unreal from what I can remember.
What a
that was a good day.
man.
I think Iron Maiden played the last show of the night, which was really,
Oh wow.
yeah, really cool. First time I caught
No
Iron
kidding.
Maiden as well, so that was absolutely unreal. And I
Wow.
did see that Iron Maiden's Nico, he had laryngeal cancer fucking back in 2020 and just kind of trooped on.
He kept playing.
Kept trooping on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So yeah, he's come out about it now, just saying everybody kind of fuck if you notice anything different in your voice, go get yourself checked up. Look after yourself, people.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. Jeez. My God. But
Yeah.
did you I was gonna say Soundwave is traditionally in the is that summer?
Yeah, well, that's not going anymore, but that was a great
Oh
that was a great show.
yeah.
Something to do with, I don't know the exacts of it, but something to do with the guy who was running it was a bit shady.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's still a whole ton of good festivals. We had that Download Festival now. That's over here in
Download.
Australia. That's over here in
Right.
Australia now, and they got the Good Things Festival as well. Problem is with these ones, they're all on the east fucking coast for people like me and like right in the middle, and the people in Tassie and in Darwin. You got to kind of track a few hundred kilometers, quite a few hundred
Right.
kilometers, but you know what I mean. It does end up adding up.
Well, that recent one you did, you drove like 8 or 9 hours or something like that.
over
Did
to
you not?
Melbourne.
Yeah.
I drove 8-9 hours to Melbourne, end up with a case of food poisoning in a hotel for like
Oh,
12 hours sick. I was so sick. Ended up, everyone went to the show, and then I'm like, I got there for Deftones and Bring Me the Horizon. I was just well enough, got my bottle of water, caught a taxi over, caught the two bands, but it was great because Bring Me the Horizon fucking, you know, special place in my heart as well, man. Elizabeth,
same.
my niece, absolutely loved them, dude. And I think that was like their first headline festival. So that was cool as.
That's really cool because and talk about a band that's another one that went not one record was the same. I remember what was their debut is this is what the edge of your seat was made for.
Yep.
And I mean they were straight deathcore.
Yeah.
And extreme metal. And then to go from that to go with working with baby metal with Kingslayer is amazing.
Yeah, that track ripped live. They played that one live, dude. The crowd was nuts. And a lot of people kind of sit back at bands like that, and I'm sure Spider copped it with Powerman and throw shade at them, man. But the support they get is fucking unreal, and the amount of respect they've got. Like, Ollie can sit back and not bring out another fucking bit of music with Bring Me the Horizon at all and still make money off of everything else he's doing, but they do it for the art. You know what I mean? It's
yes. Incredible.
Really, really cool. And
Incredible.
I'm like a band that I'm someone that's kind of respected their journey as well. I had that semi-paternal, got into them, kind of went off a bit and come back to them and really just rediscovered them and just blown away about what they've done and how they've handled themselves.
I remember we were listening to that while we were recording our record, and I remember Lenne going, "Man, it's really hard to create lyrics with a word like avalanche." and I was like, "Yeah, you're right. That is pretty tough." And we were listening to that, and like Throne and Happy Song was out at the time, and I was like, "This is catchy."
Yeah.
And you know, to go from that, and I remember when Suicide Season came out, and I was like, "This is the same band," and I was like, "How crazy is this?" Yeah, it was just, I think their brains are always working on something different.
Yeah.
And that's like going back to Spider. That's the same like, Mega Kung Fu Radio was funk, and then tonight the Stars Revolt was a little more industrial metal, and then like Noble Rot is like I said, it's wild. It's like, it's almost like I said, it's almost like New Order with like Manson. It's wild.
Yeah, and coming back to where he was
cool.
doing his own thing on this Keyboard Warrior, I put something up on a post that they're touring Australia, and I'm like, oh, I fucking love Powerman 5000. I see he's also Rob Zombie's brother, and someone's like, no, he's not. And that's he's definitely done his own thing on his own feet so much. So I just wanted to bring it back to that point we were saying before, and it just popped in my mind. I do want to chat about the recent show Lenne played, man. I'm really keen to hear how that went.
Well, we were actually acoustic this show.
Yeah, I've seen that, dude. That would have been fucking unreal.
Our drummer wasn't feeling well, so we were like, you know what, we're gonna soldier on. We're gonna do this. It was it was cool. It was very different. It was very stripped down. And it was so the boys, you had Robbie was on 4-string acoustic bass. Mikey's on acoustic guitar. Lenne was on guitar. I think first of all, he's one of the best guitar players he teaches guitar in Staten Island, actually. And he's an incredible guitar player. For whatever reason, he was having a problem with his input. He just goes, he puts it down, looks at us, and he's like, you got it. And so, which is nerve-wracking, because I'm like, okay, I got to make sure all the melodies are there and all that. But it was beautiful. And then we actually did, we've never played it live before, but we did a cover of Nutshell. And, Allison Janes is a major influence for us, because we're a vocally driven band, but we also want to retain things that are heavy. But I was like, man, this is cool. If we can, it was kind of a new thing for us, because we were like, maybe we should try some things, maybe do some acoustic shows just as a change. Again, we have a reoccurring theme tonight, and that's always evolving, always changing, always doing something different. And truth be told, me and Lenne wrote these initially acoustically, and then but it was cool to have the boys, and it was really awesome, because they just kill it, and it was like we were doing things differently. The feel was different, and it was rad. It was really rad, and I hope our followers, we have our new Facebook group, which you started. I want to thank everybody for that. We had a bunch of those folks at the show, and it was really, it meant a lot. It was really cool. We're gonna keep on cruising. But in addition to the acoustic stuff, we've got some heavy stuff coming down the pike, and we're just gonna keep on cruising with it. So
how cool is that?
Rad.
Big shout out to all the bloody legends, man. You all bloody rock. We named this for you. They're all the bloody legends, man. So yeah, Christmas, man. We're like 2 days away from Christmas here in Australia. I think 2.5 days for you. I know it's about 13 hours before, so we're still doing all right today. But
oh, that's right, because you're in the future.
We're in the future, man. Fuck yeah. Catch on. So what do you got planned for Christmas? What do you and your mob got planned for Christmas, man?
Well, hopefully, well, right now I'm currently sitting in ice and snow.
Yeah.
See my each other's families, are my wife and we're gonna hang with her parents, and then my parents, and I'll see everybody in between from here and New Jersey. And then
that's the key, isn't it? Trying to juggle to see both families. I'm the same, dude. I've got to go over to my mum's. We're doing breakfast at my mum's. Then we're going to go over to my girlfriend's family. We're going to do lunch. And then I'm going to see my other 2 older kids, hopefully for dinner. Get them over for dinner and do a couple of things. Hopefully have all 3 of my daughters together. They're both, my 2 older kids are teenagers now. They just want to do their own thing, which is funny. Thinking I've got a 17-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old and an 8-year-old daughter. So...
That's so cool, though. That's cool. Everybody's relatively local.
Yes, relatively local.
Good.
Yeah. My mum actually lives a couple of houses down from me, which isn't too bad.
Yeah, that was cool. I remember you sent me the video. I was like, "Oh, this is so rad." About 3 hours. I'm about 3 hours from pretty much everybody in my family, just about.
Yeah.
So from my side and her side, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We are going to sign out, people. This has been an absolute pleasure to catch up with Spider One.
Absolutely.
Talk about albums and a whole lot of other stuff involved. We appreciate every single one of you, bloody legends. If you haven't liked and subscribed, do that. Jump over to the Facebook page. Give us a like. Me and Jim are running that. So you are talking to me and Jim when we're on there as well. So, and we appreciate every single one of you. The support really does drive us, man. What are your highlights for 2022? I'm going to ask you, my friend.
Just trying to stay stress-free and happy, man. And that's what I ask about everybody. Do it.
yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely been a cool bloody year for me, man. One of my biggest highlights is this podcast. People absolutely loving doing this, and all the great guests that I've not only chatted to for the website, but now this. I'm really loving growing this, my friend.
Same here,
it's an
brother.
Absolute pleasure, man. Merry Christmas to you and your family and everybody else watching this. You have a safe and happy holidays. Do look after each other.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.